Since the Tornachine update here in the Hunter Call of the Wild, people have been noticing a lot of changes. And people who play this game 18 to 20 hours a day, such as people in my Discord server, who have literally been in my VC for, well, as of recording this, almost 25 hours, they notice changes right away. The Tornachine update, and pretty much every single update since New England Mountains came out, has cooked the game and it's been going downhill. And today, we're just going to kind of talk about the truth, talk about the things that really nobody says about this game. Yes, there's going to be some bad here, but before we dive in, I want you guys to know something. I'm not dogging on EW, I'm not dogging on the Hunter Call of the Wild at all. That's not what this video is. Clearly, I enjoy the game. I've been playing it for the last 8 years of my existence. I started playing the game when I was 7, so if that says anything, I might just like it a little bit. I have a ton of respect for EW. They make an amazing video game, and the Hunter Call of the Wild is by far my favorite game, always will be the best game of all time. But one last real quick thing. In order to have a successful video game, you need to express your negative opinions about the game just as well as your positive. And in the Call of the Wild community, at least, as someone who comes from several other video game communities, that is something that it lacks, and we also lack communication. EW has always been, and probably always will be, extremely bland with the community. They don't really listen to us very much when we make support tickets. In the official Hunter Discord server, they kind of just say the same thing to everyone. And we're going to talk more about that here in just a few minutes, but the biggest thing for me, you know, as someone who plays this game a ridiculous amount, is when they change things and don't tell anyone about it. So without further ado, guys, if you are ready for this video, again, the goal of it is not to hate on EW. I'm perfectly chill right now, not mad with EW whatsoever. It's their game, their choices. A lot of this stuff is annoying, and some of this stuff is just straight up not okay. From purposely ruining Great One grinds to false advertising to try to get us to buy more DLCs, we are going to cover it all today, guys. So without further ado, wasting no more of your time, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So starting kind of from the very beginning of my list here, we're going to go into talking about respawns. Now, since the New England update and they gave us that new map, everything's been going downhill in the sense of respawns and consistency with Great One grinding, and we're not going to go through all of that as it'll make this video an hour long, but the biggest and most catastrophic change that we've seen is since the Tornachine update. It has been it's been bad. Very bad. Bears, for example, are jumping to exterior zones after every single rotation. Every single rotation. For me, it's every single rotation. For people in my Discord, they've noticed it every single rotations. For mule deer, they're jumping every few rotations. Even after having all your drink zones discovered, they're jumping. And what's happening when the deer jump, you may ask? You never guess. Does are swapping with them. The whole thing with the respawn timer and whatnot, yeah, that was bad enough, but now they're making it so that way, when you shoot a male, there's a much higher chance that it can swap with a female, in order to make it so that way it's more difficult for us to farm our males, which is literally Great One grinding. Now you're probably wondering, why would EW want to do this? Well, EW always has not been fond of the idea of zone trapping and only hunting on very specific parts of their maps, and just the whole Great One grinding thing in general. Yeah, they say it's okay, but I mean, take the boar with the feeders, for example. You think that happened just by accident? And you think instead of messing with some of the things behind the scenes in the last couple days that we're going to talk about here in just a second, instead of fixing the feeder issue, which really doesn't seem like that difficult of a thing to do, is the right choice for them? Because people buy that DLC just to grind with it. And it's been broken for several months at this point. Look at the fallow deer and the changes they just made with the fallow deer to make them more difficult. Why is that? Because the fallow deer is such a easy grind to do. Such a consistent grind. Such an amazing grind. So much fun to do. Easy to herd manage. Tons and tons of males. The diamond rate is ridiculous, and guess what? It seems like I'm getting more females to switch with males than I'm getting respawns now. And it's bad, man, because 2 of my main zones have filled with females. I haven't shot any females anytime recently. Literally the only thing that I did was go to bed, got on the next morning, the first thing I find is 3 guaranteed trolls in my main zones. So level 5 max level fallow deer, guaranteed trolls, which was weird enough because they weren't there before I went to bed. I thought maybe it was a respawn timer thing, I don't know. But the next thing that I find is my very first zone, my best zone on my rotation, that very first zone on the river, has all females in it. That is the best zone on my whole map. All females, no bucks. I was like, what the frick, bro? So I go to an exterior zone, and one of my exterior zones has 2 less does and 2 more bucks. They swapped. This is happening so consistently now, and this should never, ever happen. Unless, well, in that particular scenario, if I were to shoot 2 does and leave them on the map, and then shoot 2 males and leave them on the map, leave the game, come back in, they could swap. But it's more common for like predator species where you just shoot one and then shoot one and it's a 50-50 chance. Although they can swap, I've had it happen, but I don't shoot females in my fallow grind. That's not how it works, you know? Before I went to bed, I checked all my zones. They were all spawned in. There wasn't 3 guaranteed trolls there. People who play 19, 20 hours a day in my Discord server, like my buddy Mac, have noticed new males spawning in exterior zones that were never there before. These maps have been herd managed for years, mind you. Years of extreme herd management. They're noticing brand new males in exterior zones, so it's like they're trying to undo herd management and make it so herd management doesn't work. We're trying to figure out, like, why the heck is our diamond rate cooked? We go to exterior zones, there's 4 new deer in exterior zones, sometimes 5, 6 new deer. Not to mention, pretty much all the species are jumping like crazy now. The whole thing with the respawn timer, and now that we know for sure that they are changing things behind the scenes, and again, we're going to talk about this here in a second, they're changing stuff right now without us even knowing. They should have never messed with the respawns to begin with, man. But again, they're not a fan of us grinding, they never have been. The other night, we were just chilling out in my Discord server, we were all screen sharing and Great One grinding, and guess what? Weird things started to happen, guys. Very, very weird things. EW was messing around with something. They can release, even while you're playing and inside of the game, because of the servers, they can release little tiny updates without even your game having to update, if they're small enough. The only time you need to update your game is if it's a big change with hundreds and hundreds of changes where they need to make a new build of the game. They can update the current build without even releasing an update that would require you to close your game and update your game through either PlayStation, Xbox, or Steam. Weird things with our fallow deer were going on. My buddy taking him down, I think he noticed a lot of it right at first with the changes they were making. He'd hunt one herd, and that herd would be good for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9 rotations for a long time, and he'd come back, and there would be, I kid you not, like 50 deer in one herd. Deer that he hasn't even ever seen before in one herd. Like, where did they come from? Why are they there? Things like that we don't know. And that's just an example. I mean, I've had so much stuff going on, especially with the fallow deer, but EW came out with that little letter thing. I didn't even do much research on it. They said they're changing things with the fallow deer. Yeah, we know you're changing things. It's not just the fallow deer. It's every single species in the game. So, what were they changing? That we don't know yet. We know the changes that they made from Tornasheen because the people who are in my Discord server, again, they play this game an unhealthy amount. It is amazing. They figured it out within a couple of weeks. After Tornasheen released, they figured out, well, if they're jumping more, really our only solution to this is going to be to hunt exterior zones. And with that whole thing about animals jumping more and the respawns being cooked, in order to have a good diamond rate, we need to herd manage heavier. The bears got affected the worst. If you don't have your exterior zones shot down to 3s, 2s, 1s, and females, you're going to have like a 1 in 50 diamond rate, and your Great One rate's going to be horrible. You need to herd manage extremely, extremely heavily, or you'll almost see no difference between not herd managing and herd managing. Since that last Tornasheen update at least, you used to be able to go down to 4s and 5s, but nope, EW had to cook it, and they couldn't even tell us about it, man. I really do wish, I don't think I would be as upset, at least from a content creator's perspective, if they would have told us about any of this stuff. Like in the patch notes, changes with the animal respawn system. But the reason that they're doing it, and when people make these support tickets in the Hunter official Discord server that magically get deleted, yep, that's true. I've had people in my Discord server make support tickets asking about the respawn systems, and they get deleted, which is something I really want to expose because that's not good from a game designer's perspective. Not only just about the respawn system, but just in general. I mean, you want more proof that EW hates herd management and doesn't want us to Great One grind? My buddy Mac wrote out a huge post. Huge! It took him hours to write, explaining how herd management works and why it increases the amount of Great Ones that you get. Within 5 minutes of it being posted, they deleted it. There you go. That's your proof right there. I can go into more stuff, but I'm just going to leave it at that. And it really blows my mind, you know, because so many people buy these maps because of the Great Ones and the Great One grind. How good's the Great One grind going to be? So many people buy these feeder DLCs, like the boar feeders that are magically broken and haven't been fixed in weeks, just to do the feeder grind, you know? And that brings us into another thing, DLCs. I think I covered at least enough stuff with the things they're changing and not really telling anyone about it. Again, if they just even, you know, wrote out a little letter saying that, hey, this is what we changed, this is what you guys should do to deal with it, it's just for, you know, this reason or that reason, which I don't really see a reason why they had to change the respawn system and add a respawn timer to begin with and ruin main menuing. And you know, the game was so perfect. Great One grinding was so perfect. And since New England Mountains came out, everything's just been going downhill in the sense of grinding. They never ask anything about, hey, what could help you guys a little bit as a grinder? You know, how could the grinding community be improved? Because, you know, the grinding community is totally not 80% of their entire fan base, but that's for another video. So, in the sense of DLC, this kind of hurts me to talk about because we're going to get into a bunch of different stuff here. And again, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people, Squid, you're hating on EW, yada, yada, yada. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm just, like I said a couple minutes ago, and I'll say it again. In order to have success with a video game, you need to express your negative opinions about it just as well as your positive opinions about it. As for DLCs, you know, I really wasn't going to get into this much, but a couple friends, again, from my Discord who have literally, they live on this game. The one dude's retired. He only sleeps 3 hours a day, and he plays 20. So, yeah. They kind of notice things, you know? Especially when you get 200-300 Great Ones, yeah, you definitely start to notice things. The whole thing with false advertising drives me crazy. It drives me crazy because, you know, and I see why. I see why. Okay, I'm going to admit this right now. As a content creator, I've clickbaited videos. Every single content creator you've ever watched has clickbaited videos to get views. And you get bad results from it. That's why I try to steer away from it nowadays. People click, they don't get what they want, and it makes them just want to quit watching you, right? The same thing kind of happens with EW, but people don't notice it. The whole thing with promoting trophies that don't exist for marketing to try to make the game more attractive is not okay. Because it even with people who already play the game, it makes them upset because we all thought, you know, maybe we're going to get a piebald Great One moose. Is the Great One piebald whitetail going to be more possible to get or something? No, these are just marketing strategies. You want to know why? Because remember when they released the second feeder DLC trailer and they had that piebald Great One whitetail in it? Well, whoever rendered that animal, you put the wrong fur on it. That's not the fabled piebald pattern. That's just the normal piebald coat. The fabled piebald Great One whitetail fur is a completely different pattern than that. That's just the normal piebald coat. Now, yes, they could just be promoting that because, hey, the Great One piebald whitetail is possible, but then again, I mean, why couldn't they just put a normal Great One whitetail there, and instead of one that there's only been like 3 ever found or something? You know, for people to click and say, oh, I want that Great One whitetail, and buy the game, and come to find out later, they'll probably never get it. I just accept the fact I'll never get one. 90% of players will also never get one. 99.5% of players will never get one, at least. And then the whole thing with the piebald moose, the piebald Great One moose, that doesn't even exist. Like that's not okay in my opinion. Piebald, the Great One moose furs don't exist. You cannot get that from a player's perspective. So why promote it? It doesn't exist, you know? Same thing with, you know, they went as far as taking the mocha fur from the moose Te Awaroa mission. Yes, there's a moose in Te Awaroa that you can shoot just from a mission. It apparently got stuck there. There's a whole story behind it. It has disease or something. The name of the fur was mocha. They went as far as putting that Te Awaroa mocha fur on a Great One moose to promote it. You've got to be kidding me right now, dude. Talk about impossible. There's no way anyone could ever get that. Unless, you know, they added that as a fur, but they're not going to. If they do, then awesome. I'm completely and totally wrong right now. Ignore everything that I'm saying. But I'm 100% confident they won't. And that whole thing right at first with the Great One moose. You know, we're going to go back really far now. When it got released, they were promoting all those furs on the dev build. Oh, look how good the Great One Moose gets. And then they released the map, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you'll never get one. Because they all have like a 1 in 3,000 spawn chance. Pretty much every Great One Moose you're going to spawn is going to have the common fur type. People retaliated quick on that, and they updated that. But that's just another example. You know, now you get a fur every single time a Great One spawns. That was a whole marketing thing right there. They promoted the crap out of the map. I think it would have been New England Mountains when they were releasing the Great One Moose. I don't remember, man. Promoted the crap out of them. All these furs, they're so cool. Game updated, people are spawning Great One Mooses. Hey, where are the furs? Oh yeah, by the way, there's a 1 in 3,000 spawn chance. Lord have mercy. So the whole thing in the sense of false advertising, you know, recently with that poll they put out that had the piebald Great One Moose on it, I think it was the Ava Hub thing or something, the piebald whitetail that doesn't even exist, with the wrong fur, and promoting it, making it look like it's easy to get or something, or making it look like people can get it, because it's at a point with the piebald Great One to where you can't get it. There is a slim chance, you probably have a better chance of going out, buying a lottery ticket, and winning 4 times in a row than getting a piebald Great One whitetail in Call of the Wild. Hands down. You know, obviously with that piebald whitetail, they're promoting the feeders and kind of making it look like that you can grind with them, and as soon as they got released, well, the boar are magically broken. Now this could be a glitch, so we're not going to get too much into that, but the fact they haven't changed it in weeks and weeks and weeks, and people who bought that DLC are sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting to be able to grind with it again, that's enough evidence for me personally just to believe that, hey, they don't want us grinding with these things. I honestly doubt the boar will ever work good with it again. I hate to break it to you if you're planning on doing that grind. I know EW, I've been playing this game for 8 years, I doubt they'll ever work the same again. Even after they claim they fix it, I doubt they'll work the same. And my final takeaway here, you know, I'm not dogging on EW, I completely understand it's a company thing to do, but, you know, to that extent is just not okay in my opinion. The changes that they're making to grinders and how they treat the grinding community in general, it's just not okay. And, you know, considering the fact that's like 80% of their entire fan base, it seems like they'd be a little bit more open to at least telling us the changes that they're gonna make, because it makes it so we have to sit there and try to find a way around every single thing that they do. You know, thankfully there's people that I know that play this game 19, 20 hours a day sometimes that can find these changes in a matter of days and find a way around them in a matter of days, but even these guys in my Discord server are starting to get worried for the future of grinding, because it seems like every single day more weird things happen with them tweaking little things with the respawn system behind the scenes, and after every single update things just get worse. For grinding at least. In the sense of general gameplay, I mean, you're not really going to notice much of a difference. So if you're not shooting, I'd say 300 plus or more animals a day. If you're shooting less than 300 animals a day in total, then none of the stuff about the respawn system may make any sense to you, because you might not notice it. But, you know, for everyone else who's trying to Great One grind and all that, it's just, it's not good, man. It's not a good change. It's really not looking good. There's a lot of different things that I could continue talking about that he thinks is going to happen in the future, and he thinks EW is going to do in the future. It all makes a lot of sense to me. I will say I'm nervous, but I'm also not extremely nervous, because I know EW is aware that the grinding community is a huge chunk of their community. I know they're aware of that. At least I'd hope so. I mean, duh. So I would hope that they, at least make it possible, but in the sense of using the feeders to Great One grind and how consistent the feeders were, I don't think they'll ever be the same, to be fully honest with you. The wolves are still fine for whatever reason, but the boar and some of the deer species, they just don't respawn anymore. They don't show up to their feeders. They go to their normal feed times over the feeders, which is very, very interesting to me, because the new feeder DLC works perfectly fine with the boar. But yeah, you know, I really just, I think the biggest thing for me is I wish EW would talk to us more, tell us more about what they're doing. And again, this video wasn't to dog on them, it's just kind of to expose the truth, the things that I've noticed over the last 8 years of playing this game, and, you know, dealing with EW in the sense of grinding after every single update and having to reherd manage our maps heavier and heavier and heavier every single time. Like I said at the beginning, it's with the bears now to the point where we need 3s and 2s and exteriors, which is dang near impossible. I mean, what are we going to need next update? 1s in our exteriors? Because that won't be possible. That straight up will not be possible. We're going to have to deal with like a 1 in 3,000 Great One rate and 1 in 50 diamond rate for forever, you know? And all this herd management stuff is new to me. I'm just now getting into Extreme HM, and I can see it already. I can see the things, you know, as I'm in my voice chat quite a bit talking to these people, I can hear and learn about all the things they've been talking about for forever at this point. All the things they've changed and messed with. Yeah, I've noticed that as just a casual grinder who used to just run around like a headless chicken and shoot random things off my map and pray a great one spawns, having no idea what I was doing. I've noticed it with respawns taking forever, and, you know, watch my Truth About Respawns video that came out Monday if you guys want to learn more about that. About the whole one animal out of 16 zones thing and why that doesn't work for respawns and it'll cook your map and yada yada. That whole deal, that opened my eyes to how screwed the respawn system is starting to become with the whole timer thing and females swapping, and it's really unfortunate, man. It really is really unfortunate. But hey, if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it in the future, please let me know down below by smashing that like button and subscribing for the millionth time. I know there's going to be some people down below who have nothing better to do with their time but to say that Squid is hating on EW. I love EW, man. I appreciate them so much for making a game that I enjoy this much, The Hunter Call of the Wild. I really do, you know? And I appreciate them for giving us the patch notes that they do, but as a AAA game developer, and, you know, as someone who has, I think they have, what, 2 community managers, they can't give us any more detailed patch notes. And again, it's not that they can't do that, it's that they don't want to. They're doing it purposely because of the grinding community. This has been happening for a long time, and I really hope that, you know, with this next update coming in June, we get a new map, new fresh grind. You know, I really, really hope that they hopefully see this and make some changes to the way that they're doing things. I doubt it. I highly doubt it, knowing EW, but it's possible, man. Anything's possible. That's all we want, dude. That's all we want is just consistent, fresh respawns. Great ones are difficult enough as they are. We don't want them any easier. We don't want them any harder. Just leave the game alone. Continue with your updates. Quit fixing things that don't need to be fixed. Quit breaking things that weren't broken. Please and thank you, EW. No hate towards you whatsoever, just pure requests. As a community of someone who plays your game hours and hours and hours every single day should have the right to do, pure requests. We just want to enjoy the game the exact same way the grinding community did back before New England Mountains update and the game started to go downhill. Thank you, love you guys, much love, peace out, Squid Gang.